little boy that you're going to meet today, his name is Ruben, and his mother's name is Teresa. And I just love this family so much. I've been working with them for about a year now. And I was first brought on the team because Ruben was starting to show some sensory differences. My visits have been all about learning about Ruben's sensory system and explaining that to Teresa, his mom, helping her understand what I mean when I talk about the sensory system and all the different areas of the sensory system that Ruben might be having some differences in. She really was like, this is great because I would love to work on sleep. I would love to work on toothbrushing. I would love to work on feeding. I would love to work on having him get his hair cut. She just had, I feel like every visit was the next routine she wanted to work on. I've been an OT for about 9 years now, and I've only worked in early intervention. And I love it. It's just exactly what I want to do. I love meeting families and children and learning about them and joining them in the activities that they're doing. And I love that I go to them. They do not have to come to me. We're in Bernalillo, but we go far. We go to San Felipe Pueblo. Some of our colleagues go all the way to Cuba and Torreon, and just communities out there where they don't have access to easily to these kinds of services. We learn best by first just observing what you normally do. So we won't say anything. I just want to give you just a chance to show us, like, pretend we were not here. What would you normally do to get Ruben ready to go to the table?
Usually I have to grab him because he's in his own world. Come on, Ruben.
Number one most important strategy to help children learn how to eat is to eat together at a meal, at a table together. So I think you are providing that for Ruben. He's learning a lot from that. One idea too, instead of cutting it small, you can maybe cut a corn dog long into fours. So he has to actually take a bite.
Yeah.
And put it back down. Like how you've prepared the bell pepper.
Yeah. He might like that, something to hold.
Yeah, handheld. And that really teaches he has to take a bite
and
pull.
Bite,
Bite and release.
A mouth that he can handle.
Yeah. I'm noticing that Ruben's sitting pretty nicely for this meal. His little legs are like dangling, but I wonder if we problem solve something that he could put his foot against. That might help kind of ground him a little bit to help stay seated. So for example, sometimes if we tie like a piece of TheraBand, which I have at the office, I'll try that with you. Tie something there. If he put his foot down, he could be hitting it with his foot. And that might entertain him a little bit.
He's just sit on the edge of the seat with his tippy toes touching the floor and eating and walking back and forth.
So does that make sense that he might be just wanting that little bit of that stability? My favorite way to define what an occupational therapist does is I take that word occupation and I tell families that occupation means anything that is meaningful to their children's day. So sleep, eating, playtime, visiting family, going to church, whatever it is that is meaningful to the family, that's what I can work on. Oftentimes families are working on communication and helping their child walk and also sleep and eating. And so I feel like I fit in really nicely with my colleagues, and I love that we get to learn about the families together, come together and brainstorm ideas and problem solve with the families. I think when we first start services, I think you can kind of tell that parents have been maybe a little anxious and worried about their child's development. I think when parents think of therapy, they have an idea of what therapy looks like, and it's often kind of clinic based, and the therapist takes the child and does some really magical like activities over here, and the child makes progress and everyone celebrates. But we really have to spend a lot of time up front educating parents about how EI is different and how therapy, that word therapy is just different in EI. We put the power back into the parents and the caregivers' hands, and remind them that they know their child better than anyone else does, and they're the ones that are going to be able to put the work in and make the progress, not some magic toy that I will bring in or anything like that. It's all about just empowering them. Like, you know your child best, you know the strategy, you know, and I'm just a coach. I'm on the sidelines. I have ideas, I have expertise, I have evidence-based practice strategies ready to share with you and to educate you about, but it's all in your hands.
He's still a little bit radical with the brush.
Yeah, tell me a little more. It's been a while since we've explored brushing teeth.
I've still been putting the TV on and like having him sit in my lap like we've tried, but it's like me having to restrain him, like, oh, stop. Yeah, because he like bites down on the toothbrush and he won't let me even move it or go side to side or nothing. And then yeah, I get worried that I'm gonna hurt him by accident. But Ruben, stop. Yeah. So sometimes I feel like I can only get the front or the side, and I'm like, I didn't even do it right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I try to go back later, but he sees the toothbrush and starts crying. Yeah.
There is a position we haven't tried that I would be curious just to try. Ruben's head is big, but one thing he did was have Ruben's hands come out, and you put just a little bit of deep pressure.
Yeah, just to hold his hands.
Yeah, he loves deep pressure.
Yeah.
And what this does is your legs will give a little bit of deep pressure to his arms, and then you kind of have access to his head.
I'm gonna try something with you, okay?
And go ahead. Just slide him down. Buddy, you get to watch your favorite show. You're okay. Brush your teeth. Very gently slide. Okay, I know. It's different, buddy. It's different. Now I have access to his head.
Don't lick it. That is easy. It's what he does. Because usually he's pushing my hand away.
There we go, buddy. There we go.
sorry.
Okay. Woo! What was that like for you?
Better because he wasn't swatting me, but typical of him to freak out.
Sometimes doing this kind of play, this in particular, right before you go to the meal, yeah, a little bit of that body awareness that we've talked about, like, helps them kind of, okay, there's my body, now I can sit. You never know what the day is gonna bring. I know it's a sign of a good day if I go home with markers on my arms and Play-Doh and flour and my hair is a mess, and it's just to me a sign of a really fun and